Hey, Mike. Welcome, everybody else, to Pop Culture SquadCast Live. It is a Tuesday, and we're glad you're here. How you doing, Mike?
It is the Tuesday. How you doing, Bob? How's it going down there in Maryland way?
Well, we sent some water your way. I
Oh,
think
thank you. Thank you. We should get
it
it
was.
any minute.
I ducked through the drops on my way. It almost rained on me while I was on my way to my car on the way home from work, and then it totally rained on me on the way home from work in the car, and then stopped by the time I got home. So that and then it's rained some since. But it's the weather is out there. It's dangerous. It feels. Is this? Am I wrong in this? And let's go way off topic here. But am I wrong? It feels like weather is way more of a concern than when I was younger. And maybe it was just because I was younger. But when you were my age, was weather such a concern?
Well, we were burning coal back then, so it didn't matter. You couldn't see anything anyway, and that's really true. By the way, we were burning coal. Yes, the weather seems, now part of it is young age, and that's true. But the weather seemed more predictable. And if it was going to be, you're going to have a hot wave, you pretty much knew in the summer, 2, 3 days, and it'll turn into something else. And then 2, 3 days later, it'll go back to being miserable again. Now it's just, okay, we're going to be miserable for about 3 hours, but we know that in the next 4 hours, you're going to be swimming. Now, of course, that was back when we had a weather bureau. We don't have that anymore. They killed it just in time for the Texas floods, which always happen, as Stevie Ray Vaughan fans know. And we act surprised. I don't know. Folks, the world's coming to an end. Check out the weather. The world's coming to an end. If you think that's not going to happen, your voting for Trump didn't make that so.
Okay, well, I will leave those words in your mouth.
Thank you.
We have a guest tonight that I'm looking forward to talking to. I have a little history with him. I don't know if he knows it, but we'll get into that. You have history with him, of course. Mike Norton's going to be on the show. He's actually here. We're going to get to him very shortly. We got to talk about a couple of things really quick. One is that there's a new partnership, and this is big news. New partnership with DC Comics, or Warner Brothers, or whoever we want to call it, and Krispy Kreme, and there are donuts.
Yes, there are.
I think it's June 24th to the 27th. If you go in and you make any purchase, you can get a DC Comics donut.
Wow. Now, the problem with that for me is that I don't think Krispy Kreme makes donuts. I'm not very happy with them. And the Hungry for Heroes thing is way too reminiscent of the Heroes for Hunger thing.
Yeah,
and
well, there is that,
and that annoys me a little bit. I guess that was a long time ago by Krispy Kreme standards.
Yes, I mean,
Otherwise, it's kind of. I'm sorry. Go, please.
I will tell you that I thought that too, and I was hoping that there would be some sort of, philanthropic aspect to this, but apparently it's not. It's just you go buy a donut, they will give you a free Batman, Wonder Woman, or Superman donut. We're not going to comment on the fact that the Wonder Woman donut is the only one with a hole in it.
You had brought that to my attention.
I might have just commented on it, but it's a little weird to me.
It's to me, it's just high. Just a little high, but okay. Okay.
All right. That's big news. That was announced today. I thought it was funny. More important news, and this week we're a little bit we're a little DC centric. It's not normally how we do things. We try and talk about a lot of indie stuff. I read a lot of really good indie comics. Go check out the new number ones list that's on popculturesquad.com right now, because there's a lot of really good non-DC and Marvel new series starting. I've read a bunch of them.
Name 2.
Wild Animals.
Mm-hmm. I haven't read that yet.
It's really good. And I've read Planet Death, the new Bad Idea one,
Mm-hmm.
and I like it. It's definitely an issue 1. It's high flying action or interstellar action, but it's got a good pace. It's Rob Venditti. We know we love him.
It's true.
The art is phenomenal, but it's got a good tone. Those are 2 that I read. I read a third. Don't remember what it was off the top of my head, but it was good. It was not bad. I will tell you. Oh, Unchosen. I read Unchosen. David Marquez, this book, which is good.
Right.
I would like. I don't know. There's some art discrepancies I have with it, but otherwise the story's interesting.
Okay. We should talk more about books that we've both read. We haven't done that for a while.
I think we're gonna have some downtime where we're gonna have some different guests on coming up. So we'll work that in. So stay tuned. I think you're right about that. We need to talk about spend some time talking about some books.
I'd like to foist opinions that are beyond just those in the political realm.
Good. I agree with you. So that's going on. But DC related, we have this happening this week, and I am very excited. I cannot wait to go see this movie. It is out-ish. People have seen it.
The big premiere was yesterday.
Premiere-wise, yesterday, it comes out on Thursday, Friday. I don't know, maybe tomorrow. Who knows? As soon as they can get you to see it, you're going to get to see it.
It's on my bathroom mirror.
I have some things to be said that have been said. Let's first get to the biggest controversial thing about it was so James Gunn said, "I'm not here to judge people. I think this is a movie about kindness, and I think that's something everyone can relate to." And this is coming from, there's some backlash from people who are
hysterical.
Yeah, they're like, "Oh my gosh, you're gonna talk to me about immigrants. I don't want to hear about immigrants." Newsflash: Superman is an illegal alien.
Yes,
there's no 2 ways around it. He is in the United States or wherever it is on this planet with forged documents.
Well, let's take it 2 steps further. You're absolutely right. 2 steps further. Number 1, he was created by 2 Jews. Number 2, both were men. There is so much for the hard right to dislike about Superman. And it's evidenced by the fact that he used to keep on beating the shit out of Hitler, and Hitler banned Superman from Germany.
Well, there's no harm in that. There's no you can't fault somebody for being banned by Hitler.
No, I can't.
I don't want to spend too much time talking about that. They're idiots. Other words that have been said about this is David Cornsweet and Rachel Brosnahan's chemistry for Clark and Lois is off the charts. I've seen people say James Gunn's Superman is the hero's most vibrant, optimistic, and character-driven big screen outing since Richard Donner was running the show. I've seen a terrific start for the new DC studios.
Hope so.
I hope so too. I saved one quote because it's gonna play very nicely right about now. So the last quote that I have is the real star of the show is Superdog Crypto, who steals every scene he's in.
Yep.
Now, mind you, that quote is from the only negative review I've seen. Not negative, but not as glowing.
That's not the Variety.
It might have been. There was some guy who wasn't so great, but the one thing he did say was that crypto steals the show. And on that note, we're going to get to our guest. Mike Norton has been making comics for, I think he said 28 years. It's been a while. He's done everything. If you think about it, a comic, then he's probably worked on it. And we're going to bring him in to talk to him right about now. Hey, Mike.
Hi.
Hey, Mike.
Hi. It's good to see y'all.
It's good to see you. I mean, this is your week. You know,
Yeah, it's great. It's going pretty good. I can't complain, so I won't.
Our foremost canine artist.
I'm trying desperately to corner that market.
Well, you've done it. I mean, like it's funny because, you know, as I do these things, one of the things it's fun for me because I go back and remember all the things that the people who are having on have worked on, and then I get to oh yeah, he did Astro. Of course, he did the dog issue of Astro City.
Yeah, Kurt did that on purpose. You know, we both shared stories of our puppies when we saw each other. So
yeah,
that's
great. I want to talk about. We're going to talk about the new Kickstarter, which I love. I love the concept. We're going to talk about that in just a second. I just want you to. I wanted to touch base with you. Do you remember the first time that we met? I don't know if you do.
I mean, it had to be at a convention, right?
It was at C2E2 in 2019. And
okay,
you and Rafer were the first people that I ever interviewed in person.
We were the first ones. I just thought, okay, oh wow!
And it was at C2E2, so you had a beer, so it was all good.
That used to be my modus operandi. I can't really drink so much now because I'm diabetic and on this drug that makes me not want to drink or eat anymore. So
you shouldn't do it. I'm all the same. I'm hypoglycemic. I have very low blood sugar.
Yeah.
So if I were to drink, and the last time I did any serious drinking, I was 16 in Lincolnwood, Illinois. I just sat in the corner and sulked for like 8 hours. I scared people.
Yeah.
I was pretty scared myself, except I was too sulky to care. So I've had kind of an aversion ever since, but now I know why.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I don't super miss it. It's just that everybody expects me to have like a can in my hand.
Well, sure. I mean, there's that. No judgment here. No, that it is what it is. It was weird for me because I'd never been at a show where alcohol was allowed on. Like I'm from Jersey, you know. We have way different liquor laws.
Go to a European show.
Oh yeah, really? Jeez, my God. But it is part of what makes Chicago unique. The alcohol rules are wacky and are generally not paid attention to all that much. As I recall.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for giving me the courage to continue on. So
oh yeah, sure.
6 years ago, and I'm glad to have you on. I'm
glad to have this support.
I'm glad to have you on for this. I want to talk about the new Kickstarter, but let's give you your words so people can see what you had to say about it first. One sec here.
Okay.
Let's bring this in.
Hey, we're back.
Oh,
Battlepug, the comic you didn't know you missed until now, or maybe you didn't miss it at all. Either way, we're here. I'm Mike Norton. I've been drawing comics for it feels like 1,000 years. And Battlepug is my weird little baby. It's half sword and sorcery, half fever dream, and all giant drooling dog. Over the years, we've had several books published through Image and Dark Horse, and even won a few awards.
Wow.
But I took a break for a while, and now I'm back. So you're welcome. The new volume, it's bigger, it's bloodier, it's a brand new story that somehow is dumber and smarter at the same time. I don't know how that happened. Probably magic or sleep deprivation. The book continues our original series, but starts our characters down a brand new road, literally opening up new worlds for them to explore. Why Kickstarter? I've been making comics professionally for 28 years now, and until now, I've always let somebody else handle the publishing. But printing comics isn't free, and I like making books my way, not whatever way saves a couple bucks. So if you back it, you get cool stuff. Books, prints, posters, a pug the size of a horse, maybe even a sketch from me if my hand doesn't fall off. Cosmic Doggery is finished, and it's just waiting for me to send off to the printer. So all we need to do now is pay for it. So if you've ever read a Conan comic and thought, you know what this needs? A giant dog? This is your moment. So back the thing. Share it or don't. But if you help us out, you'll be officially my favorite person for the next 30 days. So thank you.
Oh, there he goes.
Well done. Well
Yep.
done.
Well done.
That was all the work of my studio mate Sean Dove, who is a very talented illustrator
Yes.
and audio
We thank you
visual
for
geek.
You glossed over something that I really admire you for, so I'm going to stomp on it right now. When Bob ran that montage of all those covers, and we could have just done the whole 2 hours. If you didn't show up, we would have. They're all different publishers. They're all different distributors. They're all different themes, pretty much. I mean, there are themes I didn't see, but there are themes. It's all over the map. You are a true cartoonist, and you work for your work. You don't work for your publisher. So, given the fact that you've scattered it all over the place, which is good and admirable, now you're doing it for yourself, which is even better and more admirable.
Thank you. It took a while for me to get to that point.
So,
I mean, even doing my own projects, even when they were published by other people, it took me until I was well into my 30s, probably almost 40, before I started doing my own projects. I always thought I was just going to draw Spider-Man forever or something like that. And I think a lot of that is, my co-creator on Revival. I think that a lot of that was Tim Seeley's influence, because he just came out like that. He was just like, he was a kid in the woods, and if he didn't have his G.I. Joe, he made something up. And so I'm trying to make more stuff up.
That's why they pay us. I was going to say the big bucks, but
yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah.
No.
Let's take a minute and talk about the Kickstarter. So, Battlepug is now 14 years old or so, somewhere around that. He started.
Yeah, I started in 2013, I think.
Oh, okay, 2013. And for those who don't know, and I've talked to some folks. I'm like, oh, I have Mike Norton on. Well, people who aren't like, oh, well, he writes this book and it's like Conan-ish, but his mount is a pug, and that usually gets the requisite question mark. And it's I love it. I'm a huge fan of the series. I've been for a long time. I like the fact that you're doing this. One of the things that if you go to the folks, and we will put in the links in the comments, the link to this. You say you're continuing the story, and this is the way you'd like to continue it going forward, where you go ahead and create a whole nother story and then kind of crowdfund it and go from there. Hopefully there might be some pickup and print runs, distribution later on, but to do this way.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think I would, if it's sustainable, if I'm able to, I guess, make a living from it, or at least, subsidize a little bit. I would like to do more of this, mainly because I think we've reached a point in comic publishing where the publishers are just as dependent on you to do the marketing as they are. So it comes out like
that's a very
one way or the other, right? So it's like, might as well do it all myself. And I've seen my friends doing it, like Ryan Brown, who used to be a studio mate. He's done pretty well with Kickstarter. And he's doing a lot of other stuff right now, but he was kind of my role model when it came to setting this up. I really picked his brain a lot. I went over to his house and wrote copious notes. And but yeah, I would like to do more of this in the future. And it kind of suits my work style because, like with the web comic, with Revival, we just came up with the idea and I just started doing it. We didn't ask anybody at first, I was almost halfway done with the first issue of Revival before we even showed it to Eric at Image. So I just want to make stuff, and I'm in a position right now where I can do that. I still have to make money, which is why I, take jobs from DC and other places, but it's
but you still get to draw dogs.
Yeah. Oh, I've sort of at least got to that point where I'm the dog guy. But yeah,
when I saw the solicitation for Crypto #1, which was the inevitable comic book, and I saw your name on it, I thought, well, of course. Where are they gonna go? Of course.
Yeah. Me and Tony Fleeks and I did a Super Pets comic a while ago, and we both talked to each other. We were like, why is it just now that we're doing the pet stuff? They've been making these comics for years, and they never asked us, because he has that feral book and stray dogs, and yeah, I think the last it's funny, the last time I think I actually talked to Marvel was when they put out their Lockjaw series, and I was like, why am I not drawing one of these?
Well, actually, you're providing me with some wish fulfillment, because when Marvel did that Savage Avengers series with Conan, which is kind of goofy, and that's why I read it. It was goofy, and I kind of liked it, but I wanted Lockjaw.
Yeah,
I wanted Conan and Lockjaw. And I also wanted Kirby to draw it, so I might as well, right?
But I would too.
Yeah, of course. That's where you start.
That's where you start.
I really wanted that, so thank you for doing the Destroyer Duck version of it.
Yeah, it's really just, the whole book is wish fulfillment. It's just me drawing what I used to love as a kid. And if I'm writing it and I go, this is real dumb, I know that I should put it in. And when we won the Eisner that year, that was my acceptance speech. It's like, this is only going to encourage me,
right?
Because I already showed that my stupidity is capable of things. So I'm just gonna do what I want to do, I think, when it comes to that.
I think if you look at history, most of our greatest artistic and scientific advances came from people who didn't have a clue.
Yeah.
It does not come from corporate America or corporate anything, because the larger the corporation, the more they're just a labyrinth with too few candles.
Yeah.
You know, and for a creator, and I extend that to the scientific community, because they're creators. To a creator, that's an anti-creative feeling.
Mm-hmm.
You can do anything as long as you're willing to live or die by your own sword,
Mm-hmm.
which seems like a fair choice.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, I didn't used to think that. I mean, but I was kind of coming at it from a different point of view when I was younger. I thought I don't think it'll surprise you, but I'm a pretty big rule follower, have been since I was a little kid. And I always thought, you get up, you grow up, and you get a job. If it's a dream job, it's still a job. You got to go out there and get the jobs and draw Spider-Man, and that's it. Drawing things that, when Image started, they made such a big deal about these guys. They're not drawing Spider-Man anymore. They're making their own things up. And I thought that was a huge deal to me. It's like, I didn't know you could do that.
Well, what did you, so that's how did you respect that? How did you take that perspective? Because I remember it. I was like, oh,
I thought it was amazing, but I also thought, well,
aren't you supposed to do that? Aren't you supposed to draw Spider-Man? Like, isn't that what you're supposed to want, right?
Yes, I thought that. And, my friend Sean McKeever, who I worked with early on and am still good friends with, when we were doing The Waiting Place, which was about as far from Spider-Man as you can get, and we would go to places like SPX or other shows, and we would turn to each other and would go, what if they find out we just want to draw Spider-Man? We thought we were going to get kicked out or something like that.
You might get kicked out of SPX.
Yeah.
Nothing against it. There's nothing wrong with SPX.
No, there's everything's damn near right about it.
Yes.
Yeah. This is where people go. There's a number of shows across the country like that.
Yeah.
To do their own work and to be encouraged and to see others who have done their own work.
Yeah.
I mean, the first time I went to the New York City equivalent of that, MoCA. It was, I think, the first or second show. I was working at DC at the time. I was on staff, and I was fine. I was happy, but I know too much about publishing. Nobody ever makes money on publishing except for like these 2 or 3 people who wear tuxedos all the time, and it's not a creative industry. I go to MoCA and I see the next generations.
Yeah,
generations, at least 2, 3 generations lined up right there, all having that look and feeling of awe.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, there are other people like me who do this, and look, see, they must be making a living because they're showing their faces. I mean, yes. You want to make money? Get a gun, find some liquor stores. There's plenty of ways to make money.
Yeah.
There are very few ways for you to express yourself.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. Those SPX shows really did open my eyes. Like I was a fan of. I mean, you know yourself. When I was a kid and there were independent comics, it was like first, and it's still.
You mean the ones that Mike was making?
What's that?
You mean the ones Mike was making?
Yes, that's what I'm saying. Yeah, those comics. And I grew up in Jackson, Tennessee, which is far away from, a lot of comic stores when I was a kid. And there was this one store, they had First Comics. And I was like, what is this? My mind was blown, but I still didn't think of it as something that was something I could do, which is ironic because I ended up, the first thing I ever did was.
Well, that's why I wanted to bring that up because the first thing you ever did was Badger.
Yeah, it wasn't at first, obviously, but
no. And another thing, I don't know if you know, but on your Wikipedia page, there's this thing, and it lists your influences.
Yeah, I don't know who made that page.
Well, one of them is Bill Reinhold. So
yeah, definitely Bill Reinhold. Yeah. when I saw those comics, it was like a revelation to me.
Oh, absolutely. I was right with you when I saw those. I think that I'm fairly certain the first comic I ever came across was Badger.
Yeah.
It's funny. We got the rights to Badger from Capital City Comics, which has just gone kablooey.
Yeah.
And we went to Madison. We had this big meeting with the guys who run the place, and Mike Barron was there and all that. And it was kind of a fight. It was a tough deal, but we got through. We pretty much got what I wanted, which made Mike Barron very happy, which seemed to make Steve Rude very happy. Steve's tall. It's hard to tell. And that was great. So we come back and say, well, what do we do now? Well, we're going to have to make some comics. Okay. Are you going to handle both of them? Because I was editing most of the rest of the line. And I said, no, Nexus is just wonderful and people love it to death. I don't want to do that one. I want to do Badger, which I know from a convention appearance that Mike did in Chicago, dressed as the Badger right before the first issue came out. The Badger is autobiographical, and Mike is what's the technical term? Bug fuck. That's it. And and it was wonderful. I love the series. Almost went back to it, but there was a financial issue involved with the then publisher.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Mike,
I loved it as a kid.
You went back for seconds on the other Mike.
Me? Yeah. Well, I mean, he gave me my first job, so I always felt indebted to him, and I always thought that his, like those, the distance between Nexus and Badger is like, wow, there's some ideas here, and then over here it's like, this guy is crazy. And it's just like, I love that dichotomy, and so I wanted to work with him again. Unfortunately, it was on a cursed book. It was an idea that I had that I don't know if he was the right fit for as the writer. And
you're talking about Nightclub then, right?
Yeah, and I mean, I think the only good thing that came out of that is that it was one of Robbie Rodriguez's first things that he did. He ended up, because I was working on that, and while I was working on that, at the same time I got job offers from Marvel and DC, and I was like, well, this is ironic. I have my own comic, and I can't really pass this up. So I gave my book to Robbie, basically. So I have mixed feelings about that book, but I think I've made up for it since then. I've gone back.
I mean, you went to do this instead.
Yeah, my first book at Marvel was my own character, so that kind of eased my guilt about it. But Sean and I, we basically made ourselves as a superhero. We're like, we love Spider-Man, so let's make a superhero that loves Spider-Man.
Yeah,
right.
I kind of want to talk about that. Like Sean in particular. I love Sean. You worked with him a lot.
I would consider he's my older brother in a lot of ways.
Okay, and you've worked with Tim a lot.
Yep.
My
weird little brother.
Fair. I feel the same way about him. It's like, how does that? How is it when you work with somebody who you have a long-term relationship with, as collaborators and friends? Does the communication get easier? Does the writing and the art come faster? Does it get more difficult? Are the fights harder? How does that work for you?
Fights are harder. Yes. Work-wise, I love it. Mostly because with Sean, and especially with Tim, there's almost like this kind of like, we know what the other can do. So there's never any like, I was really thinking this. They're like, yeah, that's exactly what I was thinking. You know, that kind of thing. And that doesn't happen a whole lot with people that I don't know. It does, but it doesn't happen a lot. And so I love that kind of like.
Rafer too falls into this category, of course.
Rafer actually is a little different because he is like this little weird X factor. And like all the projects that we worked on have been ideas that I had that I'm like, I'm not capable of being weird enough for this. I can make a joke or two, but I can't think the way that Rafer does. Rafer is really hitting on a lot of, like he thinks of stuff that I would never think of, and it makes for great comics. So I almost think like we are on the same wavelength, but he is also transmitting at a different frequency.
There are some folks in this field and in almost all other creative fields who you are certain after working with were not born on this planet.
Yeah.
And we're better off for that.
Yeah,
because they bring original stuff from whatever planet they're from.
Yeah.
And I thank you for that. I'm hoping those planets didn't have to explode first. But you know, they're an original thinker. We all have original thoughts from time to time. None of us can bank on our ability to crank them out 24/7. Yeah. But every once in a while, you find somebody who can. And those people are great and just scary.
Yeah. Yeah. And you hope that the corporate world doesn't like chew them up and spit them out. A lot of them are pretty resilient, but some of them get eaten, you know, so.
Yes, absolutely. And it's not a fait accompli. You know, you can be eaten and spat out and then pick yourself up and do, you know, and you'll probably be in a better place for that because you know more about how it all works.
Right. Yeah.
You know, it's a tough way to do it, but comics is no different than any other form of show business.
I agree. That is something I've come to learn in my later years. Yeah.
I think it's becoming that more. I think that
it has. Well, I think about this a lot, especially now. You know, kids are born like speaking marketing jargon. You know, everybody knows this world, whether they think they do or not. You know, it's like we grew up in the Entertainment Tonight generation. You know, it's like
sure,
behind the scenes is as important as in front of the camera now. So everybody knows all the ins and outs, and so everybody wants to be in the entertainment industry, but nobody wants to pay for it. So it's kind of crazy now.
People who walk away from big ass Hollywood jobs, and in many cases go back to comics. I admire those people because it's like Hollywood's great. The money is unbelievable if you're making any, and you know, if you get something on the screen or something, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
And I mean, some people go, "Yep, enough's enough."
Right.
It's one of those things where, you know, we're kind of skirting around this, but it's something that's been, you know, rattling around for me for the last few days or so. Like there is this everybody has to promote themselves, and you kind of brought that up. It kind of segues into something that has been rattling in the community for the last few days. Like all the people got, you know, everyone got their answers from New York Comic Con, and there was a lot of people who were disappointed, and some very rightfully so. And then Eric Larson posted something the other day about how, you know, it sucks, but like there's limited space, and they're running a show too, and they have to do their things. And he's not wrong.
No, that was a very nice and well-articulated response, I thought.
Sure.
The fact of the matter is that in comics, promotion has always been crap.
Yeah.
Throughout my tenure, the second tenure at DC, they wanted me to create all this wonderful stuff that was unlike anything they had done. And then they buried it because it didn't have Batman in it, or it didn't have enough Batman in it.
Yeah.
You know, the marketing people went nowhere. I am reminded by the fact that historians look back at the presidential election of 1960.
Sure.
And say, well, Nixon won because 68, I'm sorry, because he had advertising people behind him. And that was kind of new for politics. Not really true. He had marketing people behind him.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not saying that as a compliment. Not that marketing people are bad. Some of my best friends are marketing people. But the ones in uppermost management almost always are.
Yeah, I can't really disagree. I think this is a long way around what I was trying to say is that, yeah, I mean, people today, everybody's a marketer. Everybody, you have to know the language now. And if you're in art, any kind of art, you have to be a marketer. And a lot of people are uncomfortable with that. I'm one of them. I try to do it, but yeah, not nearly like
for them. I'm tired. I'm tired.
Yeah.
I'm tired for the 40-year-old selves of the 23-year-olds today.
I have a friend who was like had a hit on MTV back in the 80s, and he talks about, I didn't have to do marketing when I was, it's like people did this, and now I gotta do this, and I gotta do this, and then when am I gonna have time to make songs? It's right. So it's crazy the way things have changed.
Actually, the music industry is an awful lot like the comics industry.
Oh yeah,
where when you walked in, you gave these people all the rights to everything, even though your name was on, perhaps on the record as writer. You shared it with corporate management. You shared the money. Almost nine times out of 10. If you're Frank Sinatra, maybe not. If you're the Beatles, yes, you shared the money. And now they have a system, and they've had it a little longer than we have, that is very much like what comics is doing now. Yeah. You want to go do something great? Do it yourself. Tell us about it, and it might work.
Yeah.
Odds are about the same as they were before.
Yeah.
But at least the odds are in your hands.
Yeah.
They're in your hands, not that schmuck who's not doing his job.
I mean, how is that for you to work on something like Battlepug that's, where you can just take that left turn without being told not to?
Well, so that was the first thing that I really did of my own. Like I did it I wrote it and drew it. And once I did it, I was like, why have I been denying this for myself? Why? It spoiled me for other things. It's like, oh yeah, you get notes from an editor. I'm like, who are you telling me what to do? I just do what I want to do now. That kind of thing. It's very easy to get into that kind of mindset. You're like, whoa, this is amazing. I'm just doing whatever I want. I hope it's good, but if it's not, I don't care either. That's
true. That's true. I am possibly because of my professional career, I am very pro editor.
Oh yeah.
I am not pro dictator.
Yeah.
And I mean, Mort Weisinger was a dictator. Jim Shooter was Mort's protege, but he could tell a story better, much better. Today, no. It's the vast wilderness. The cool thing is we're building on it.
Yeah. I mean, I try not to think about it too much.
Yeah. No, because you're a creator. And I don't mean that with a capital C. Your job is to create. It's to tell stories. It shouldn't have to be like the musicians are bitching, rightfully so, that they have to be the ones to go out there and promote themselves. I got news for you. Everybody since the creation of mass media, since radio went network in the 1920s, everybody has had to do an enormous amount of self-promotion. Not so much because they wouldn't do it for you, it's because they weren't as good at it as you were.
So I want to come just back to this news story. Does this take place immediately after the Image series?
Yeah, that was the thing. So
because you ended it on a cliffhanger, and I wanted more.
There's a 5-year gap in between these two books, and I left
it on a cliffhanger at the end of that.
I thought it was funny for a little while, but then I'm like, I would be pissed off if I was an actual fan of this book and it looked like the main characters died on the last page. And I'm going to want to know what happens. So you get to find out what happens. Unfortunately or fortunately, I do the same thing in this one, but I plan on getting back to it much quicker.
So it does follow from that. Yes.
Yes. It's a direct sequel.
Both Sherlock Holmes and James Bond were killed off by their creators and brought back to even greater success.
Well, I'm going to try and do that then.
Make no small plans.
Yeah.
As they say in Chicago.
Go big or go home.
That's it.
So can we talk about a couple of other things that you've worked on and what and how they worked for you? I know my wife was a huge fan of this series, and
yeah.
And for some reason, Alyssa
Whitney
posted about it like yesterday.
She sent me a link about it. Yeah. There was a very favorable story about it, and they just reprinted it.
Yes.
Because it did have fans, and it's sort of like, maybe it was ahead of its time. I think
it's
like, here's something that's made for TV. It's like Zatanna's Magic School. Why hasn't this been a thing? So, I love doing it. I love drawing younger stories with younger characters. I think that's the Spider-Man influence. I just feel at home in that world, and it's fun, and there's an element of danger to it, and that's my perfect comic. Is fun, but there's an element of danger. Things could get hairy, but it's going to be fun. So
why do you think that's the case? Why is that the type of
story? I think it's the movies and TVs I absorbed as a kid. I didn't get into like horror movies until I was well into my 40s, and I went crazy with them.
That same problem.
Yeah, and but as a kid, I wanted the good versus bad. I wanted the good to win. I wanted it to be funny because I love to laugh. I love to make jokes. And anything else, I wasn't into like serious stuff.
So Goonies was it for you?
Goonies was amazing. The main character's name is Mikey. Of course, I loved it.
Like that's a great example of like the stories that you tell, because they're fun, they're funny, but there's also this, there's something danger. There's some level of danger going on that needs to be addressed.
Somebody could die. They probably won't, but somebody could die.
Probably won't though. That's
the redneck in me.
Well, I mean, the problem with somebody dying is that it's comics and nobody believes it.
Yeah. You're safe.
Nobody believes it. Yeah.
It's like working with a net.
A pretty thick net.
Yeah.
If they had that net back in the very late 30s, Batman would not be a success.
Yeah. Right.
When you approach something like Battlepug or Grumble, and there are non-human characters, right? Like when did you first start drawing dogs?
I think that was probably around the time. I mean, the story about I've always loved dogs. I've always had dogs, and I've always loved them. And I've always loved animals. There was a time, when you're in high school, and I've always known I was going to be an artist since I was, 5 years old. But there were times, where your mom or dad take you aside and they're like, well, you're going to have to think about what you want to do when you grow up. And I'm like, I'm going to be an animal doctor, or, that kind of thing. And it's just because I love animals. And I started drawing dogs in my 20s because I didn't feel I was very good at it. And I thought, if I'm going to be in comics, I need to be able to draw anything. And at the time, my boss, I was working in advertising at the time, my boss got a baby pug for his wife for her birthday. And it was supposed to be a surprise, so he couldn't take it home. And he's like, Mike, watch this pug for the weekend so I can give it to my wife. I said, okay. And I fell in love. I was just like, I love this animal. And so they would pop up here and there and stuff I did. It wasn't until a long time after that I made something out of it, but I think I definitely overcorrected for the time lost.
What are folks going to get from this Battlepug Doggedacy Cosmic
Doggedacy? Yeah.
How long did you practice saying that?
I studied that name out forever. It was going to be so many different things. And for some reason, that just came to me after like almost a year of trying to come up with a name. What you're going to get is even crazier than I've done before, because keep in mind, I started this 5 years ago when multiverses were kind of a novel thing. It was before they'd been bullied into the ground by TV and movies, but
we started it.
That's right. What was that crossover y'all did? It was the
Crisis Wars, something like that.
I don't remember. There was even first did Crossroads, which was the the two characters would meet.
It was at that same con that I met you. I had dinner with Marv Wolfman, and Tom Zoller and I were talking about whatever was going on at DC at the time. I forget what it was. Who knows? And Marv kind of like interjected and said, what are you guys talking about? And we're like, well, whatever the latest crisis that's going on at DC. He's like, oh, they're still doing those? I'm sorry.
Yeah, it is. But yeah, I wanted to be able to tell any kind of story because I already had set up this world, and I had told my Lord of the Rings for that. And I was like, well, what if I want to do something else? And so I made a way that I could tell any genre story in Battlepug. So there are all these different worlds that they're going to explore. And there's a crossover with Grumble, my other book. That's why Rafer was involved with it. And he helped me out a lot with just the structure of the thing, too, because it kind of got out after a while. So he was there for guidance.
Yep, that's great. So there's that story. Backers can get there's a PDF version. There's a couple of physical versions.
I tried to make it simple. This is my first, campaign, and so I was just like, it's going to be the book and the PDF, and there are some other reward tiers. Like I have commission tier, and I have a screen print that I had done a while back, and some posters that some friends have made for me, and stickers, which I make stickers all the time. So that stuff was easy, but I wanted it to be just the book, and you're essentially just buying the book for me. I didn't want it to feel like, the Jerry Lewis telethon or something like that. I wanted them to feel like they were getting something, and it's just a book. It's simple. It's a book.
So the stretch goals, you've reached 1, 2, 3, 4 of them.
Yeah, I added the 5th one the other day just because
you're not far. There's less than $1,000 away from I want that one.
I want it too, because
anything.
That was the thing. I was like, well, I need to come up with another thing, and then I did it, and I showed it to people, and they're like, why didn't you do this first? Because I was I've always wanted a Battlepug bumper sticker. I never did one.
It is a bumper sticker that says my other ride is a Battlepug.
Yeah,
and I think I need it. I think I need it for sure.
Yeah,
during some downtime at a convention, was just before COVID, somebody had asked me about crowdfunding and which was relatively new, and whether I thought it was a good idea or bad idea. And of course, I babbled stuff I just babbled throughout this show. But it had occurred to me at that time that had First Comics been crowdfunded as opposed to lawyer funded, seemed like a good idea at the time. The publishing would have been about the same, but the company would have been very different.
Sure.
And I think, and of course, who knows, but I think it would have been much better. And even with the same people, I'm not even talking about like we needed different people working in this and you're stuck with these fools. Not at all. The same people. But that was 1983, and it was, I guess that's BC now, or I don't know, but it's a long time ago.
No. There might be a mandate tomorrow.
Oh yeah. The year of our
5 is year 0 now, apparently.
Oh man. Yeah.
Yeah. So.
I didn't mean to bum everybody out. Sorry.
Yeah, it's this is why we have this show. We have this show to try and stay not bummed out.
Yeah.
Otherwise we would all be. The shirt definitely fits the pose. It'll get better. I hope.
Oh,
I've almost bought that shirt before.
Well, it's a great shirt.
Well, mine is.
You're backward.
Let me see if I can get this on camera here. It's
Svengoolie?
Yeah.
Patron saint of Chicago.
Oh my God.
Oh, of Berwyn, actually.
That was I was on his show for First Comics.
Yeah.
Back in the day, and because Rich is quite a comics fan, and his little secret here for those of you who are really, really old, he was the staff writer, the entire staff writer on the old Chicken Man radio series that Dick Orkin did. And ultimately, that's how he got the job, because he was working with Jerry G. Bishop, who was the original Svengoolie. And
I remember Chicken
Man. And now 1,000 years later, because this is like 2025 or something like that, he's an overnight success.
Yeah, right.
It's true.
It only took him 3 heart attacks to get there.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Oh, I never knew he did Chicken Man. I remember Chicken Man. That was still playing on the radio when I was like in college, I think.
Yeah, the reruns and stuff. And I wouldn't have thought of that if Bob hadn't referenced Marv Wolfman, because Marv was also a huge Chicken Man fan. I'll tell you a really quick story. I was on a radio station that the studio was in River North in Chicago, just north of the river, hence River North. And it was on the top floor of a skyscraper because, radio stations are on top floors because if the power goes out, you just knock out the windows and shout, I guess. But one time I did overnights, and I had to show up for the weekly staff meeting, which was at 10 o'clock. I got off the air at 5 o'clock, which meant that unless I started to drink, I had nothing to do for 5 hours. So finally, I'm at the meeting. Meeting is over. I'm back of the elevator because we're on the top floor, and all these executives come in, and they're going on the elevator. And I listen to the voices, and one of them is Chicken Man. And I realize I am on this elevator with Chicken Man. And
I definitely would not have recognized the voice.
Oh yeah, he had a very Dick Arkin's voice is very, very specific.
That's funny.
It was kind of scary, but being a fanboy, because I was like in my 20s, early 20s. The next time I was in the building and at a reasonable hour, I went to Dick's office, and he was the nicest guy in the world. Gave me tons of free shit. Oh my God, it was terrific. Stamps and posters.
That'll make an impression on a young person, is giving them free stuff.
Particularly since this guy had been on radio since,
right?
It's
like the Mean Joe Green giving the jersey to the kid.
Oh yeah. Oh, very good.
How's that for an old reference?
Oh yeah, but that's great because that's how I felt.
Yeah,
that's very good. Oh well.
We're gonna come back to Battlepug for a second, but let's talk about what you're doing now. And you're probably done with it, but like this is coming.
I'm almost done. I'm not quite done.
So what's this about for you? How did who is the editor, first of all?
The editor is Sabrina Fudge.
Okay, great.
That's how you say her. I don't know how you say your last name, but
how did you get involved? Did Ryan bring you in?
No, it was Katie Kubert actually contacted me. And we worked together before, and we also share stories of dogs. She has a French bulldog named Zelda, and I actually snuck her into, I think, a couple of things, but it was my Rocket Raccoon Deadpool team up story. The cover is Deadpool. He's flying a bike like E.T., and on the front it says Zelda's bike. Because we wanted it to look like he stole a little girl's bike. and Zelda was her dog.
That's awesome. So how what is this story? How is it working for you?
I love it. I was familiar
with the characterization of what version of crypto you.
Yeah, it's so originally, this is the first like comic book stuff that I've worked with Ryan. I was familiar with his dinosaur comics. Mm-hmm. His online, I actually don't think I had read it in any of his like company comics, and it would. I thought at first it was just going to be kind of a retread of, old, because we wanted it to look timeless and feel like the old comics, but also they wanted it to be modern, and they wanted, to kind of bring some of James Gunn's dog into it.
Sure.
Which I don't have a problem with at all. I love that dog.
Yeah, me too. I mean, it's it's a movie, folks. It's not the comic book.
Yeah. But it's Crypto's origin. It's basically how he got here, what he was doing when he wasn't with Superman, and that first year or two, what he was doing on Earth. Because he's like the Leica of Superman. They sent him off to see if it was safe for Kal-El, and and he just ended up here. So it's very fun. It's funny. It's poignant and very sad at points. It's a lot like one of those old Disney animal movies where you just watch the animal do stuff. He's never talking. It's like Benji, those old Benji movies. So they never talk. So a lot of it, I had to make sure you could tell a story without dialogue. And it's been real fun. I really do feel like I was able to step in and not have much of a learning curve on the character, because I've drawn Crypto before, I've drawn Super Pets before, I've drawn Superman before, so it was easy to get into it. And Ryan wrote a hell of a story. So yeah, I hope people like it. So far, people did seem to like it. But,
yeah, I'm kind of pissed that I didn't get it. I haven't gotten it yet. I'm sure Mike's read it.
Cool.
Well, I didn't go to my shop for a couple of weeks, and then I went and I got home and I'm like, "Where's Crypto?" Like,
did they kick you out? They didn't let you back in the store for a few weeks, or
no? I have
Gotcha.
to work.
You had to work. I have to work. I know. I feel the same way. Ryan's one of the best writers running around today.
Yeah,
and that's saying more than it ever said before, because I think the overall quality of writing in comics has improved dramatically across the board. We have some phenomenal writers out there, and there are a lot of different reasons for it. But if you can impress me, and I mean truly impress me, doing a run of Fantastic Four. Not that there's anything wrong with Fantastic Four. I've been reading it since the very beginning, but I love the series. But he's found stuff and ways to do it.
Yeah,
just amazing to me. And look at all the people who preceded him. So
yeah,
he gets a new #1 tomorrow.
He's a smart guy. That's readily apparent in the stories and the scripts. He's a smart guy, and he has a good handle of what I was talking about earlier about fun, but also an element of danger to it. And that's exactly what the Crypto book is. It's fun, but some messed up stuff happens.
Well, all right. So I was traumatized by whatever happened to the Man of Tomorrow. When Crypto, spoiler, in a very for you youngins back last century, Alan Moore wrote a really, really good Superman story. It was the last Superman story.
Some consider the best Superman.
Some people consider the best. And Crypto dies, and it was horrible.
Yeah.
Horrible. Devastating.
Yeah.
Did it affect you at that moment where you did that?
Yeah.
It was such a heroic death.
All of those things. I still, and I
blame Mike for bringing him to America.
When I think about the issue where Ampersand dies and Why the Last Man,
oh my God,
I get so upset. And now I just said it, so now I'm upset.
Oh my God. I forgot about that. Thank you very much.
Yeah. Yeah, and it happens at the end, like the last several issues. It's like I spent 60 issues with this cute little guy, and he dies.
Well,
spoilers.
I'm not gonna spoil. I'm gonna tell the story, and this is why I'm gonna tell the story. Okay, because when this is what makes comics really good. And I love this story because it's about comics. So when my wife and I were first getting back together and because we knew each other when we were younger, when we started dating, she knew I love comics, and I got her reading. So I got her reading. I'm like, you would really like Why the Last Man. I'd already read the whole thing twice.
I did the same thing.
So I said, you really love Why the Last Man. And so we were not living together. We were a couple states away. And so I sent her the first trade, and she immediately went to Barnes & Nobles and bought the rest of them. I'm like, okay, that's fine, but you can't read the last trade without being with me. Like, you can't read that over there. So when she came to my house and she read the last trade.
What a hustle.
Listen. She's reading the last. I've just moved into this place. There's no furniture. We're in the living room floor on the carpet, and she's reading it. She gets to that point, not ampersand, but there's something else that happens very, very badly. You know exactly what it is. She took the book and threw it across the room. She has subsequently met Brian Vaughn, told him how much she hated him.
Yeah.
And but that's comics. That's what makes comics so amazing.
Yeah. That's, you got a good one when you read it and it touches you like that. It didn't used to do that when I was a kid, I just wanted to see guys in their underwear beat each other up. But
and then Alan Moore killed Crypto, and then you started feeling things.
Feeling things.
That's funny.
Alan Moore is my fight club.
I had that same relationship with Howard Chaykin's cat.
Howard Chaykin's cat?
In American Flag.
Oh,
Raoul, yeah.
Raoul. Yeah.
That's fair.
Yeah, he has the added thing of being able to talk, so it's even worse. It's like this guy was talking to me.
Yeah, it's true.
Well, let's all be honest. Like when we saw Crypto is going to be in this movie that comes out this week, the first thing everybody thought is that dog better not die.
Yeah, I mean that's the thing you do whenever you see a dog in a movie. But yeah, I hope he doesn't. I don't think they would do that.
I don't think
No.
I'm not gonna...
Listen, this show will be very different next week if that happens.
Yeah. Yeah, there's going to be rioting in the streets.
Also,
justice for Crypto.
1,000 merchandising people will attack.
Oh, yeah, that's a good point. Oh, we're safe. We're safe, guys.
Yeah, we're safe. We're safe. There are people who will jump out of their window.
Yeah. Capitalism saved us.
Yeah. That's how it works.
So I want to come back. I want to come back to Battlepug. And if somebody hasn't read Battlepug, I mean, you've kind of mentioned it before, but like, it's something you want to draw. It's something you want to write. It's Conan on a giant pug, right?
Yeah.
But there's a lot more to it. There's so many.
There's so much influence. Yeah, it's every influence I've ever had, and I tried to make a story out of it. And luckily, I didn't mess it up too bad. The Jeffersons are in it. Anything I remembered that I liked, or I put it in there. And what's weird? Oddly enough, I think I got a lot of that from Cerebus when I was a kid. And I was reading Cerebus when I shouldn't have been reading Cerebus. I was very young, and I didn't understand half of what was going on in it. But I did know that Mick Jagger is in here, and that doesn't belong. It's like, there are superheroes and all this other stuff, and it's just there, and it's not explained. It's not like, it's weird that Mick Jagger is here on the side of this mountain. And so I really took that kind of thing when I was putting it together. It's like, if I'm going to draw the Jeffersons, I'm going to draw the Jeffersons in here, that kind of thing. So yeah, it's, on the surface level, it's a Conan story. It's a barbarian getting revenge story. But I wanted to shove all these other things into it. And it's Star Wars. It's Avatar: The Last Airbender. It's anything that I liked as a kid, those adventure movies when I was a kid, and a lot of jokes. I try to write funny jokes.
I think it's super smart. I think it's fun to read. I've been, like I said, I've been a fan for a long time, and I was super stoked to see that you were doing this. And as soon as I saw him, like, we got to get you on in the while it's still running, and it is still running. If you haven't backed this, you have an opportunity to back this until Saturday. 3 more days. Saturday at noon, I believe.
Yeah.
Or no, it's Saturday at almost 9 in the morning.
Ooh. Is that Eastern time or Central time or
Eastern time?
I can't tell time.
So Saturday, July 12th.
Of the East Coast, they honestly believe that their time is the only one that matters.
Listen, Mike, it's technically Friday night for you, so don't worry about it.
All right,
I was talking about the other Mike. Saturday morning at 8:49 Eastern. He is not up.
Sometimes I'm not. So it could have been me you were talking to.
I'm just getting to bed around that.
Right, that's what I'm saying. It's still Friday night.
That's because I was told I can't eat barbecue too late. It's not good.
That's when the visions come.
That's right.
But yeah, it's real weird. And I got Rafer in there for one story, so it's super weird. And
I love Grumble so much, to be honest.
There are spreads in it. There's a that I'm just like, I'm gonna show you my influences. So there's Bernie Wrightson in there. There's like some heavy metal in there. There's one spread where I try to fit every character that I ever liked in there.
That's awesome.
And I left out a lot.
Really?
Yeah, left out a lot. There's, I love watching terrible B movies, and I tried to shove all those guys in there too. So. Yeah, hope I don't get sued.
Super excited for it. I got to say, like, another thing with, like, I mean, I'm a huge fan of Grumble as well. Like I said, the first time we met, we were talking about Grumble. Grumble
is a particular favorite of mine that I plan on getting back to because we still have more story to tell.
Sure, you do.
I'm an unabashed Howard the Duck fan, and I'm not ashamed to admit that's what Grumble is based on. We wanted to do if John Constantine got turned into Howard the Duck, and so so that I feel like we have never-ending stories that we can do.
Sure.
I will not get over the concept.
Have you not read Grumble, Mike?
No, I have not.
Oh, you need to. It's like I remember, and this was after we had talked because Rayford lives near me.
Yeah,
and so there's a scene, I think it's in issue 2 or something like that, where he sent you pictures of like North Avenue and we were driving one day and I'm like, this is in Grumble. Like this turn onto this, right under this. I'm like, this is exactly where that is.
I love to do that. If a writer's wants that in there, I'm gonna try and be his faithful. I mean, aside from going to the place myself, I'm gonna try and get it exact. I mean, there are people that still say like Eagle River and Waiting Place or Wausau in Revival looks just like it. I mean, I've been to Wausau, but I don't have an encyclopedia. I didn't grow up there like Tim did. But I like to get. I think environments really sell a story.
Yes,
it is,
and verisimilitude is the most important thing.
Yeah. And I want, he said this in Baltimore. I wanted it to feel like Baltimore. So,
and it did. It was one of the things that really. So there's certain things you can't. I don't think you can have this unless you've experienced it. Like if you're not from Wausau or wherever, or you're not in Baltimore, but to find somebody like even in New York, like when people draw New York, there's parts of it that are just like it's not as. If you draw New York, it's not as iconic or not as interesting because everybody's done it, right? Sorry, this is Grayson.
Yeah.
People usually people who use reference tend to use a lot of Brooklyn,
right?
Because it looks more like New York than most of New York.
Mm-hmm.
Sure.
I mean that as a compliment, but if you're from Queens, forgive me.
They really are. So those like even LA to a certain point, those are kind of like the templates. We can all we can all almost get around in those cities without ever having been there because we have seen it.
Sure, exactly.
Media.
That's what I'm trying to say.
And so, yeah, you can just
You
say it's
expect
New York
that
and
people
put a
will be able-
landmark there. It doesn't need to be. Everybody already knows. So
You expect that people will be able to draw in New York,
yeah,
or Los Angeles, or whatever. But like when you see somebody drawing Baltimore, or even Chicago. Chicago's another thing.
Chicago's a different one too. Yeah.
Well, we're lucky right now. We this is the Chicagoan in me. We have a TV show that's really effectively using Chicago locations as opposed to the 50 or 60 others that don't.
Yeah.
And we have
Which one is that?
And we have that Marvel comic book that they do that's also set in Chicago with a bunch of X's in it. That I'm amazed at how faithfully reproduced.
Yeah.
My hometown is. I have a Chicago question for you.
Yes, sir.
What's it like to share a studio with Chris Burnham?
Well, I don't anymore. He's in Kansas City, but I will say he is he's an interesting guy.
He is.
I love him, but we got so sick of him leaving his McDonald wrappers everywhere. And not even like on a table, just on the floor next to the table. It's like, we're going to get rats in here or something.
Well, that series that he did with Kirkman, Die, Die, Die.
Uh-huh.
I'm convinced that was autobiographical. That's Chris's life.
I think for some reason his weird awkwardness and ability to say and draw the weirdest, sickest stuff is kind of like the world balancing out his like leading man looks. Like, we have to give you some kind of curse.
That is really accurate.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I haven't seen Chris for a few years because I don't go out west anymore, west of the Mississippi, pretty much. But I love the guy, and he's really unpredictable, and I love that. Yeah,
he texted me on my birthday this year. I never replied back, but he's a sweet guy for a homicidal maniac.
Yeah. Well, not all homicidal maniacs are sweet guys.
I met Chris. Well, I tangentially met Chris. We were both talking to Jeremy Hahn at the same time in Kansas City. So, and he was not tabling, and I'm like, and he walked away. I'm like, that was Chris Burnham. That makes all the sense in the world.
I can tell you stories, and I probably eventually will. He took me to one of the best. My daughter to one of the best restaurants I'd been to in Chicago that opened up and closed since I left town. And
which one was that?
I don't remember the name of it anymore, but it was over by Wells Park on Lincoln and Montrose. And they had really terrific chicken with some sort of strange white sauce that Chris may have doctored or something, because I'm sure I was hallucinating.
I'm not sure what they would have been, because there have been tons of places over there.
Oh yeah. I don't understand why people open up restaurants. Like, do they have short attention spans? What's the
inevitable pain?
I just want to touch on that one more thing, because I think it's an interesting thing about comics and about artists and writers. Like you have, are you still going to a studio space? Studio space? Yeah,
there's still at the core. There's still four of us. That's not the same four that started. But,
sure.
Three of us are. Tim's the one that he's out in not the suburbs, but as close as he can get. He's out in Portage Park. So, but yeah, Jenny and Chris, they've all gone on to other places. But it's me and Josh Emmons and Sean Duff and a new guy, Andrew Masisco, who is a very talented guy. He does a lot of role-playing stuff. And yeah.
Do you go to work? Is that how you work it? You like, I get up, I go to work, go to my studio,
That's how I've always been. You know, I used to live, when I was in Nashville, I lived there with Jason Alexander and Sherrard. Oh my God. And Sherrard Jackson, they stayed up all night and I just couldn't do it. And I've run into artists that do that. They just stay up all night. And I just thought I was the weirdo. But I've found some of my people that like to do 9 to 5. And I just feel like I get more done and I'm at my best, you know. I like to sleep. So yeah.
Marshall Rogers had that problem. He never slept.
Yeah.
And was always working. And
yeah.
His output for all that time wasn't all that much, really. Yeah. I mean, that architecture stuff takes time to draw. And his girlfriend, this is back in the 70s, his girlfriend came to me one day and said, "How does he do it?" I said, how does he do what? She says, how does he make a living? Well, you live with him, not wanting to make that next statement, because that would be rude. And she was just totally baffled how a guy could be working 24/7 without making enough to make the rent.
Yeah.
And rent in New York in those days was about $300 a month. So, you know, it wasn't like it is now where it's like $5,000 a month. And all I could do was explain to her, well, welcome to comics.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And she had come from music, so I was able to make a few.
Oh yeah, sure, easily translated.
You know, that helped her.
Yeah,
sure. Yeah.
She's like, say no more.
I think that's interesting because one of the things when we talk to people, I always like to get that kind of perspective on how are they going about the craft. Like, I think it's interesting that not everybody does that. A lot of people are, I work from home, you know, and this is where my spot is.
I was very much that when I was freelance, I was at home and I didn't think there'd be any other way. And Tim dragged me kicking and screaming into the studio space. And now I can't imagine not doing that. That's why I've kept it around this long. You know, it's just feels like a place I need to be.
Yeah. I know a lot of people who feel that way. They were hesitant at first because, you know, you're looking at the financial commitment.
Yeah.
And hoping that in 3 months you'll still have work or a job or be alive.
It is a very dicey proposition. Yeah.
Yeah. You know, so it's sort of a scary thing, but then it's like, no, wait a moment. I have to do certain things in order to do this. So this is good. This is a good structure to be in. It's an individual thing. I mean, that's the beautiful thing about being a freelancer. You can have a studio, you can do it at home, you can go over to your mom's house and piss her off, whatever.
I mean, yeah. I mean, it's, and so last kind of content, I mean, a crafting thing. How are you drawing now? Are you still traditional on paper? Are you digital?
No, I haven't. I've been digital for a long time now. I wouldn't say I'm one of the first, but I definitely around, I think I was still exclusive at DC. So I would have been working on Green Arrow or Blue Beetle or something like that. And I definitely started hardcore into digital when I was doing the Billy Batson book. Mm-hmm. And it was easier for me. I started getting paid to ink my own thing, which never happened before when I did it on paper. And it made sense. And plus, you know, a lot of artists say that, you know, you lose the income of the original art, but the irony is that nobody asked for it until after I went digital. You know, so yeah, it's kind of messed up, but I'm with Comic Art House now, and they make these archival prints of the pages now, and so like Mitch Garrett's does the same thing.
Yeah.
So they're like these 1-to-1, like it's the only one that's ever going to be printed up for those people that do want like revival or something that I've only, you know, done digitally. So
I have two technical things I must interject. Number one, Bob's thunderstorm just hit, so we may be wiped out at any second. Number two, my cat, one of our cats.
Looks like it just walked over from his screen.
Yeah, really. You know,
they just decided to make appearances. So if you see tails flying by,
yeah,
they're not mine.
There's a wormhole out my door from Baltimore to Connecticut.
Yeah, yeah. God, I wish.
Exactly. But anyway, no, it's good. We're running out of time here. But again, I want everybody to go to Kickstarter, and why is this not working? It's supposed to add state. Oh, there we go. Cosmic Dogacy. I got it. It's still funding until Saturday on Kickstarter. Please go back it because I really need that bumper sticker.
I just want to see if DC sues you for the logo.
That logo's been there for a long time. I love that logo. Who designed the logo?
Oh, I did. Yeah,
You did.
I just wanted something that looked like it was on a heavy metal record.
There you go.
Excellent. All right.
I'll be in Chicago I really look like November.
Okay.
My daughter and I want to make the Alex Ross thing, and
Yeah.
And there's all these people that I want to see, and if I don't get an Italian beef sandwich soon, I will lose it. So hopefully we'll be able to get together.
Yeah, that'd be cool. That would be cool.
Thanks, Mike, for being here. We really appreciate it.
I appreciate.
We will have you back the next volume of Battlepug, if not sooner. And we'll see you soon.
Yeah, thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Thank you for being here. I had a great time.
Yeah,
it was just wonderful being with you here.
Thanks. Yeah, thank you. Bye.
Thanks.
Bye. All right,
Mike.
We
are running out of time, and you're running out of breathable air over there.
Well, we ran out of breathable air a couple days ago.
Next week we have a let's see, let me get this up. Jordan Clark is going to be on the show next week. We're going to talk about his new book coming from Ahoy Comics. We're very excited for that. This is a book I've been looking forward to for years. It had multiple iterations over the failing publishers in the middle of it, but Ahoy is finally printing it, and we're going to talk to Jordan about it next week. We have guests lined up now pretty much through the end of August that I'm not ready to announce yet, but you'll be hearing from that in the next week or so.
But you're going to San Diego next week.
I'm going to San Diego, but we're going to still have shows. So we're going to, next week is Jordan. The week after that, we're going to have a show with a couple of other guests. We'll get that out to you next week, which is the third Tuesday night. So we'll have a show on Tuesday night. I'll get on a plane at 6:00 in the morning the next day, go to San Diego, and then I'll be there until Sunday night, and I will come back and I'll arrive here at 8 a.m. that Monday, and then we'll have a show on Tuesday.
You do realize that it's a very complicated thing to leave the San Diego airport Sunday night of Comic-Con.
I believe that. I plan on getting there as early as possible.
And bring reading material, maybe a little stool.
Well, I'm going to buy some stuff probably.
I know, I always thought that, but I don't do the box diving so much anymore.
Well, no.
Craig Yo saved my ass. once with a stack full of Comfortless Nancy comics while I was waiting for my plane.
So yeah, I have not done this. It will be an experience. I'm hoping that it will go well because I need to work the next day. But we'll have a show that night. We have just teasing out there. Zach Kaplan is going to return to the show in the next month or so. Aubrey Sitterson is going to be on the show in the next month or so. Some other people that we've talked to, so I can't name names on those yet because I have to tie down dates, but those are definitely coming. We are going to be here. We're going to keep talking about comics. We're going to keep talking about what's going on there. We will have to probably at some point talk about the Fantastic Four movie when I get back from San Diego because it'll happen that weekend.
We should. Fair is fair.
Yes, of course. But what I'm saying is this week was Superman. We'll talk about it next week because we have to go see it this weekend. Then we'll talk about the upcoming Fantastic Four. And there are 2 new Fantastic Four books out this week. In case you didn't know, there's the new ongoing series, and then there's a one-shot.
Oh, yeah, they're doing a lot of that.
Yeah, but the one-shot, it's written by Matt Fraction with art by Mark Buckingham.
That's true. I did notice that.
I mean, that's a
there's
great
reason why. There's a reason why I noticed that. You know, multiple tie-ins to movies. Most of us grew up expecting that, so I'm not annoyed by it. As long as the stories are good. If you're going to force me to buy it, make good.
Well, I mean, they got a great cast on that, and it's got a Phil Noto cover, so that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
All right. I think that's enough for tonight. We thank you guys for being here. We thank you for putting up with us and watching us, whether it's today or tomorrow or whenever you get around to it. Make sure you follow and like and subscribe and whatever you need to do so that you know when we go live, which will be Tuesday nights at 8:00 Eastern.
Thank you, folks, for being out here, and we will most definitely see you next Tuesday, whether you want to see us or not.
Right. We'll see you there. Stay safe, Mike.
All right, you too, Bob. Take it easy.
This has been a production of the Pop Culture Squad Network. PopCultureSquad.com. How do you nerd?